Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, reviewing the price action on the 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week charts, along with taking a look at some of the interesting things that are going on in the space with the recent news and data all the way through to exchanges and trades. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. The link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into this video though and start things off with the 1 hour time frame. So here we have ADA paired up with USDT. We're using the BitGet spot exchange on the 1 hour time frame. So we were looking for a move down yesterday. We were talking about 28.77 to 28.92. We came down significantly lower here. Now, this was a flash crash along with most of other kind of cryptocurrencies. It's nothing unusual or specific to just to ADA or anything like that. We can also see that we filled out the fair value gap here, so I'm going to remove that one as well. Okay, so we've kind of moved down quite nicely. We finished off our structure, but we need to consider what else is going on within this pattern. Okay, so anything more unusual. So let's go ahead and just tidy out some of these things. I'm just going to remove some of the noise. I'm going to take this off for now and then we'll review that in a second. So we have this initial move to the downside over here. Okay, so we grab the Fibonacci retracement tool and we're just going to measure this distance. We're going to see whether or not this has gone down. Yeah, it's gone down one deeper than the 1.618. So we can consider this thing a potential diagonal. It would have to be either an ending diagonal or a leading diagonal, and I think for the most part probably gonna have to be an ending diagonal, and that will be an interesting one. So let's take a look. Right, what am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about the idea that this has to come down like that. Okay, now under this particular potential there's actually two types of diagonal. And I don't know if I've still got these drawn up. I don't know, I deleted them. There's basically three types of diagonal, right? You have your standard diagonal, which would look like this with a wave 1, wave 4 overlapping. Okay, then you have one that would look like this, which would be the expanding diagonal. Okay, and it would look somewhat like that. Maybe that will come up a little bit higher on the wave 4. And then you'd have what would be a contracting diagonal, which would be much smaller. And actually, I've drawn that wrong. Let me draw that again. I'm going to use some trend lines to help me draw this accurately, because otherwise it's going to look a bit weird. So a contracting diagonal would be a little bit steeper than that. It would look more like this, and it would have a wave count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like that. Okay, and the expanding one, I probably also need to redraw a little bit. Just going to bring the 2 in, the 4 up, and then draw that down like so. Okay, so these are kind of like the 3 different kind of diagonals that you can kind of see, right? A standard diagonal like this one here, which hits 1.618 in the wave 3. Okay, then you have these ones here. The wave 3 on our expanding can hit 1.618 but doesn't have to. Likewise in here it doesn't have to. And so what we've kind of got potentially going on here is the expanding diagonal type. So if I go ahead and in fact actually draw it from here is probably better. Take it from there to there and from down here. Let me actually use that correctly, like so. So you can start to see here that if that's our wave 1 origin coming down here, we have the wave 2 going up, which would probably have to be around here. We'd have a 3-wave move down here, looking for this 4th wave maybe to come up, overlapping wave 1, and then we have a really big, deep wave 5. That's a possibility within this structure that I have to consider, okay? All because it really hit that 1.618, which would have been unusual. Now, within our pattern here, it wouldn't actually be too unusual to have this structure as a either leading or ending. And looking at it, I would say it's probably going to have to be ending, and it could be within a diagonal of its own. So I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how this plays out. There's a few different options that are going on here when it comes to the price action of ADA. One of the things I'll be looking for would be keeping it below 29.8399 for now. We're overbought, so I'm looking at rejection. You can see as I'm recording this video, we're getting rejected and we're being pulled to the downside as well. So for the most part, that's kind of where I'm expecting this. We're expecting further downside on ADA. We are still in a bearish structure. We got a break of structure again on our structures points. Let me show you. So we had our change of character into bearish state of play. We then have a break of structure to confirm it right up here. And then we have another break of structure down here to confirm that we are still bearish. So there's nothing more going on there. We are below the 200 EMA. We are below the 50 EMA. The 50 EMA is below the 200 EMA. We have a structure here that is bearish, confirmed with two break of structures. Essentially, we've got to go down. There isn't much more to it than that at the moment. We haven't had any significant breaks to the upside, at least not yet. I suspect that when we do come down into a finishing fifth wave movement here, if that is the correct pattern, then we'll get an explosive move up. But until that happens, we're not there yet. Okay, so we've got to give it some time to breathe and see how the next formation of few candles go over the next few days, and hopefully that will then anchor us in with a much more informed position on these 1 hour time frames. Let's move on over into our daily though, which will be this chart just here. And on the daily time frame, you can see we got rejected again up here on those highs around the 200 EMA, failing to kind of keep that position. We lost the support of the 50 daily EMA and we're slipping down. Now, here we can see the obvious. I talk about this pretty reasonably at this point. We are in lower highs and we are in lower lows. And you can see that yesterday's candle just brings us down like that. I still suspect we've got to come down even deeper here. So, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, this is potentially going to be okay. This is not the end of the world. Ultimately, I would actually estimate that we need to come down quite a bit deeper, right? Within our structure here, I'll be targeting out 26.25, right? But make no guarantees that that's going to happen. From an Elliott wave theory point of view, our minimum expectations have been met, and this would be a very, very bearish scenario to kind of see unfold on a daily time frame. So much so, I don't think it's going to play out. I don't think we've got this kind of momentum to shift to the downside. This kind of idea of a three-wave pattern here, I just don't think is likely to occur. Instead, you can see this slow overlapping corrective structure here, although it might have some impulsive movements internally, looks like it's gearing up for a break to the upside. We're oversold on our daily time frame. We're just not necessarily ready on the smaller time frame like the hourly and the 4 hourly, but for the most part we are looking for a break upwards on our daily time frame. I will be looking at targeting out that 200 EMA at 34.4 cent, where I would estimate we might find rejection, because I do think that we still have potential for a bigger break to the downside. As you can kind of see, I estimate this to be our B wave high, and therefore that gives us our kind of lower ranged targets. If I zoom out of this, you can kind of see the overarching structure here, A, B, and C, taking us down towards that 15 to 18 cent low target. But before we can go down, we're going to have to go up. I suspect that what we're going to do is we're going to do something to this effect. We'll have a three-wave move down towards that 25 cent at some point, and then we'll probably break upwards over time back to 30 cent, get rejected there, and then kind of move on down into those lows. We'll expect a new bear market low for Cardano. I don't think there's any other kind of scenario here that can unfold for ADA on the kind of daily time frame. I don't think the bear market is done with Cardano just yet. So when we take this up into a weekly time frame, and what do we see? Well, we can see that the target ranges are here. There's also the possibility of dropping down, theoretically that is anyway, down to 7.98 cent, right? And that's incredibly low. As you can kind of see, we spoke about this, I think, yesterday with that Z wave structure being really broad, right? It basically goes between 8 cent and 20 cent, right? But actually, when we take a look at the subwave counting, we realistically have that 15 to 18 cent range, and that overlaps inside the idea of a Z wave. Ultimately, this is where I think we're going to find the bear market low point, and where we're likely to see big reversals in the market, and where we're likely to see, ultimately great value in ADA. Now, I personally think that Cardano is undervalued. I hold a very good position in ADA. If I wanted to add more to the position, I would continue to dollar cost average. I think anything lower than 30 cent is a great deal. Anything lower than 20 is a steal. And I suspect that we're going to see some really juicy prices in the future for Cardano. Am I concerned about anything at the moment on ADA? I think yes, I am. If we take this area of 15 to 18 cent, right, and we drag it all the way across, it is no coincidence that 15 cent and 18 cent, this particular range, was previous resistance and also an area of support. Okay, and we can see here, or actually was resistance on the low side at 15 and resistance on the high side at 18, and then we rallied on through. I'm looking at just turning that into a support level. Now, the importance of this level isn't just that it is a previous area of resistance, but it's also a 1 to 1.236 Fibonacci retracement area on the internal wave counts of our Z wave structure, basically meaning that our bear market low point not only aligns with Elliott wave theory in terms of the Fibonacci sequencing, but it's also an area of previous resistance that can turn into support. That gives us some strong capabilities to think this is the likelihood, or the likely area, where we're going to see the bear market low, and the likelihood is that we're going to be moving up quite aggressively from here, at least in my opinion. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. All I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I personally see it. And for me right now, it looks pretty juicy. Let's go ahead and move over into some data for Cardano. Now, for those who do not know, we have a new membership website. We've kind of left Patreon behind. We don't like Patreon anymore after some recent activity there. So we spent way too much money building our own platform out, but nonetheless, I think it keeps the community safer. So why not check it out? Membership.cheekycrypto.io. Link is in the description below. We are offering a 7-day free trial on all of our plans, so there's many different things to choose from, lots of different perks and benefits. Now, I'm going to be talking about one perk, one benefit, which is the data that we have to offer. We offer on-chain data for Cardano. This can be added at checkout to any plan. Okay, so if you just wanted the base level plan, that gives you access to, AMAs that we do in our Discord, exclusive videos, exclusive TA, and the data, you can go ahead and do that. But if you want absolutely everything, there's also a plan for that. It gives you access to all the educational courses and, of course, the on-chain data. So in here, we have a Cardano data source for on-chain data. I'm going to load it up here. We obviously have the overview, telling you, all the ins and the outs of what is going on from top level Cardano, right? So whether you've got 35 billion in circulating supply, the all-time high, the days since its all-time high, the percentage that it's down, all the way through to the amount of fees that were paid in the last 24 hours, which was 18,778 ADA, or $5,479. Transactions, 53,000. Active addresses, 31,000. 4.4 million active accounts, and so forth, right? And so it gives you some overview of kind of what is going on. Liquidations tells you the liquidations, and the wallet counts are going to show you the wallet counts, who is buying, who is selling, and all those things, right? So when we take a look at this, we take a look at the whales at 1 million ADA or more, and there are 2,826 wallets that have over 1 million ADA in them, and we're actually up 0.39% in the last 7 days, 1.47% in the last 30 days, up 3.97% in the last 90 days, and up 2.99% in the last 180 days. So over the last kind of few months or so, 6 months or so, we've actually seen whales in Cardano accumulating. Over the last 365, they're down 1.6%, which means that actually there's a huge recovery occurring here for these wallet counts. Now, we have the graph as well, which we can go ahead and zoom in on. Here we can see that the light blue line is the wallet are the wallet counts, and the dark blue line is the price action. I will change this to make it a little bit easier to see, I think, but for the most part we can see that there's a slight increase in the amount of whales that own Cardano, right? And we can see here the aggressive sell-off as all-time highs were getting hit, and then of course just kind of working their way down, and now they're kind of turning around and starting to accumulate, because Cardano is reaching that undervalued area now in the price chart. Taking a look at the 100,000 ADA or more, you can see there's 24,517 wallets, and they're up across all those different time frames. 365 days, 5.49%, 180 days, 3.12%, and so forth, right? So you can see that there's accumulation happening here. This pretty much started back in November of 2022, even though we hit new bear market lows in terms of price, most recently in June of 2023. Again, more accumulation is happening. So from a data point of view, it's looking very, very strong. It looks like accumulation is happening as the price action has come on down even deeper. We can go deeper than that though, because we do see total value locked growing quite nicely when it comes to Cardano's ADA, right? And $173 million total value locked at the moment. And this is a dollar value, right? We see growth at the dollar value whilst price has been going down, and that is quite phenomenal. It means that the amount of ADA that is basically being locked up is absolutely astonishing, right? We're currently sat on 598 million ADA totally locked up, right, on the Cardano chain. That's going to be creating some significant shrinkage in supply. Now, to put that into context, right, at the beginning of the year, 2023, January the 1st, it was 198 million ADA, okay, and we're up now at nearly 600 million. So it's phenomenal that during this year so far, we've seen even a new bear market low, we're seeing total value locked grow, okay, growing at the dollar value because the amount of ADA that is being locked up is phenomenal, okay. Now that has a profound impact on the future of Cardano because the amount of Cardano that is actually out there that can be purchased is shrinking. Okay, the more that gets locked up, the less ADA is available for purchase. The less ADA that is available for purchase, the higher the price potential has. Okay, so essentially as demand comes in, if there's not enough ADA to support the demand, the price is going to move rapidly to the upside, and that is going to be something to be seen. And I think it's going to be great to kind of witness, right? So great to see that there's accumulation happening, and not only is accumulation happening at these really large, wealthier levels, but we're also seeing total value locked grow. Now, that's not where the bad news, that's not where the good news kind of ends either, because we've got more fantastic stuff. No bad news to be seen, right? Revolutionary 𝗕𝗘 protocol, elevating a node synchronization on Cardano, upgrade to fuel ADA prices, right? So Cardano's ADA 𝗕𝗘 protocol is reported to have several benefits, including reducing the time required for nodes to sync with the blockchain. I think this has potential of hitting quite significant numbers in the future. Now, there are some crazy numbers out there. We speak about these all the time. It have got technically the capability of hitting over $100. However, I think we have to first focus in on the more realistic one, which comes in at about $32, right? And so there's going to be some interesting price appreciation on ADA. I think it's going to do incredibly well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see such explosive growth on ADA in the future, right? Which is why I'm contemplating maybe adding more ADA to the portfolio if price does come down to where I think it's going to. If it hits 15 cent, I'll be foolish not to kind of add a very significant portion to the portfolio. So I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this unfolds. I think we're going to see some really great price appreciation in the future. But again, we see more great stuff for Cardano, right? The Cardano blockchain transactions jumped 49% in Q2 on the network upgrades, new users. And so Cardano transactions rose as several upgrades went live earlier in the year, attracting both users and developers to the network. I think there's like 1,200 dApps on production or in production on the Cardano ecosystem. Again, it's going to compound the amount of ADA that gets locked up in total value locked, but also compound the demand that comes in as well. Like I say, the future growth on ADA is going to be absolutely explosive, in my opinion. Now, moving on from kind of the news side of things, I think it's important to talk about the different exchanges that you can kind of take part in, for ADA, right? And you can see that there are not really that many exchanges that actually have leverage positions. So if you're a leverage trader and you're looking to kind of find an exchange that you can kind of leverage trade on, ultimately my go-to is 𝗕𝗘𝗪. 𝗕𝗘𝗪 I use for all of my leverage-based trading. I find that it is the kind of go-to platform for that. Now, I also use 𝗕𝗘𝗪 as to 90 to 95% of my spot trades as well, right? But there are other exchanges, not that many, but there are other exchanges that BitGet can do leverage-based trading when it comes to Cardano, right? And so we can see here OKX, Bybit, Binance, CoinEx, and 𝗕𝗓𝗪, right? Now, you might obviously want to avoid 𝗕𝗓𝗪 for the short to medium term because we don't really know what's going on there. You may have accounts with OKX, you may have accounts with Bybit, you may have accounts with Binance, and so forth. If you don't, then you should probably be thinking about setting up accounts with these exchanges. Personally, I use BitGet as my go-to platform, and I use things like Binance as my and Coinbase and a few of these others like KuCoin and Gate.io, so forth, as my secondaries, as my backups, right? I think it's important that you have access to as many of these cryptocurrencies exchanges as possible. Make sure that you have exposure so that when the time comes that you're looking to kind of do whether that is spot trades or leverage-based trades, you can get access to the platform that you find the best. Now, not all platforms are going to resonate with you. Some platforms you'll find that are more intuitive to the way that you operate than others. Ultimately, I find that BitGet is kind of my go-to platform. Okay, now there is an affiliate link in the description down below for BitGet. I think there's also links in the description below for Bybit, Binance, and a few others as well. A lot more down in the Discord server. Like I say, I think you're going to want to have access to as many of these as possible. Now, it's not financial advice, but my personal approach is sign up, get registered, get familiar with all of these different exchanges. And guys, why not check out BitGet with that link in the description below? If you use that link, you will be eligible for up to $8,000 on deposit rewards. Essentially, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform will depend on what rewards you are able to obtain. But you might as well take advantage of what is out there at the moment. And considering you're in a bear market, some of that might actually be really helpful on building out those portfolio positions. So why not check it out? BitGet linked in the description below. Now, as I said, this is an area that I do all of my trading, or most of my spot and all of my leverage-based trading. This can be found down in our Discord server as one of the benefits of what we offer for our members as well, some of these trading perks. We do TA on request and things like that, and that TA actually gets turned into trading ideas. Those trading ideas can then be used for leverage-based trades on things like BitGet. So we've actually been doing a lot of trades recently around 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗏, which has been trading beautifully, and a few others as well, such as ADA, XRP, and so forth. So if you haven't already checked it out, why not check out BitGet? And also, while you're down in the description below, why not check out the membership website where you can get a 7-day free trial as well. Guys, I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is also in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.